When I was researching for the topic of this episode, I was met with some staggering statistics. I found out that 1 in 10 of people around the world are suffering from either an autoimmune or a hormonal imbalance. The majority all stem from the food that we eat. My next guest has got firsthand experience when it comes to her own hormonal imbalances and her journey and how she treated that with the food that she ate and a holistic approach to nutrition. Layla Al Naif is a certified holistic nutritionist, and she is here sitting across the table from me to talk to me about all things holistic nutrition, what is going on with our food, dispelling myths about diets, and how we can get on track right from the start. So sit back, relax. This is definitely going to be a good one. And please help me welcome Leila.
Hi.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
I'm
you
so
for
excited.
I know we were just talking, it's the end of August and school's around the corner and schedules are really insane.
Chaotic.
And I'm just so happy that we managed to make it.
I'm glad we did it before
100%.
School starts because I have a little more time on my hands, which is amazing.
I'm so happy. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Leila,
tell me.
In terms of who you are and what you do, how would you go to explain that to everybody?
Well, it kind of all started back when I was diagnosed with PCOS.
Okay.
That's where kind of my
Your
life.
journey.
Yeah, because I was on a path which was a very typical standard path for a teenager. You graduate, high school, you go to university. Didn't really know what I was doing in university. Studied business management. What did I gain? Probably not much. And then I'm sure you
gained something.
Maybe a little, but I can't think of a thing, to be honest. It was kind of a, one of those more general degrees that I got a degree. That's it.
Yeah.
And then definitely not. And then I graduated from university, and right when I was graduating, that last 6 months, my last semester, I started to gain a lot of weight.
Okay.
And for me, that wasn't normal. I've always been the same build. I've always been very athletic, very healthy. I come from a very healthy household. My mom was always, a marathon runner and a fitness trainer. My dad is in the gym every day till today. So I've come from a very active background. All my family is the same. So for me to gain a lot of weight was weird.
Okay.
And I went to the doctor, many doctors in Dubai and Jordan, where I was living at the time. And everybody said, you have PCOS. I was like, what's PCOS? I didn't even know what it was.
How old were you?
20.
Okay.
I was young.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about food at that point. So, I didn't really understand diet changes at the time. Like I kind of just ate what I wanted. I didn't really know any different.
Yeah.
And then got diagnosis. Didn't really know what to do with that. Got told sort of, you're going to struggle to get pregnant one day. For now, just take some birth control. And, when you want to get pregnant, come back to me.
Okay.
And I'm 20 at this point. I'm like, get pregnant? Like, I'm not even thinking about that right now. It was a scary thing to be told that at such a young age.
Yeah,
I think
that's not
very nice.
No,
from multiple doctors, not just from. I went to like 6-7 doctors.
Do you know when they put those things out there, like, oh, you might have trouble.
Very final.
Like,
why? Very, very not necessary. Put it that way. So I was like, no, don't like that. And I went sort of. My brother was very into nutrition. My brother is 6 years older than me, and he was very heavy on the nutrition journey himself. So I kind of spoke to him, and he said, you should do this course, because he was doing the course. And it's an online course, which just teaches you sort of all the ins and outs and basics of nutrition. So I did. And I did it for myself. I didn't really do it to, for the certification, but I did get my certification from that.
Yeah.
And it took me about 18 months to complete. So it was quite long. And my life was kind of on hold because of this whole health journey, let's say.
Okay.
My moods were low. My periods weren't there. I had acne for the first time in my life. I gained about 15 kilos, which is a lot of weight for a 20-year-old, especially a girl, it's a tough thing to go through as a little girl, a young girl.
Significant amount of weight gain. Yeah.
And then everything kind of just kept snowballing from there. The first avenue I went down was a yoga teacher. I became a yoga teacher because I fell in love with yoga during this process. So that was my first sort of into the wellness space.
Yeah, because when I obviously had a look and stalked you heavily.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah. And that was definitely like
significant.
A big portion of your life.
That's how I started my Instagram account. Yeah. It started off as a yoga page, a wellness page, but also mainly, yoga. Yeah. That was my passion. I taught for years. And then when I got married and moved to the UK, I had to pivot because I didn't have interest in teaching I was teaching in Dubai. And then in the UK, the market just didn't interest me as the same.
Okay.
Mainly because I only taught females. So it wasn't the market for me, put it that way. And I pivoted into nutrition because I was always passionate, but I never actually pursued it.
Okay.
And when I started to see that people were, feeling better and I'm making a positive change in just one person's life, helping them get their cycle back or helping them lose a bit of weight if that's what they want. It was so rewarding. And I took a couple breaks because of my pregnancies.
Yeah.
Back-to-back pregnancies in COVID. It was a little bit
all over.
I've blacked it out, to be honest. I don't remember half of it. I'm not gonna lie. If you ask me, I'm like, what happened between 2020 to 2023? I don't know.
Honestly, it's the same.
I feel like I just woke up this year. Yeah. Really, truly.
Yeah.
And I went back to work. And now I'm back into nutrition and pursuing it sort of full time.
Just when it comes to your own personal journey, did you sort of, after obviously going to different doctors and different people, were you like, no, I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to take matters into my own hands?
Yeah.
And then that's where it's
essentially.
Okay.
Because they gave me, each doctor gave me the exact same prescription.
Yeah.
Birth control, the insulin medication to regulate your insulin, and the thyroid medication because my thyroid was a little slow.
Okay.
So these are the three common things with PCOS. They're kind of like standard.
Yeah.
So you get those standard medications and I got the same slip every single time. Take this medication and, we'll talk in 6 months. So I started taking the insulin medication because they're like, this is going to help you lose weight. That's what it was. And in my head, I'm like, it's not healthy for me to be gaining this weight. Let me try this medication. That was the only one I tried for 3 months.
Okay.
Nothing changed. Not like a gram of weight came off me. I'm like, this is just nonsense.
Working. Yeah.
And I know people who are taking the medication and it doesn't help them at all, to be honest. There's so many natural alternatives, supplement wise, that you can be taking that are way more effective and more natural. Yeah. Plus food and obviously so many other things.
For sure. It's that, the whole idea is the healing power of food. And it's that whole concept, I feel like has been kind of dragged through the mud because, it's replaced by a quick pill.
Fix.
That's a quick pill that's given to kind of, if there is a symptom, to mask it. If there is something that needs to be done, it might do it really quickly, but it's not sustainable.
Well, that's what doctors are trained to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to kind of discredit doctors. I'm not saying that there isn't a time and a place for medication. Of course there is.
Sure.
But their job is to review your symptoms and make you feel better with a prescription. That's like, and obviously, the surgery side, like let's not go into that side of things.
Absolutely.
I'm talking more about the, prescription side of things. Like that's kind of what they're trained to do. And that's okay. I don't accept that for myself and I didn't accept it. And I'm obviously now very picky with my kids and how they get treated when it comes to things. So it trickles down into your household, put it that way. Even with my husband, he's like, I'm going to take Panadol. I'm like, why? Put the Panadol down. Put it down. Like, you don't need it.
Just drink some water and go into a dark room.
Go drink some water, get some electrolytes and no, you don't need Panadol. Like, it's not a solution to every problem in the world, you know?
And it's not, like you said, it's not like you're saying no to it, but it can be life-saving.
Time and a place.
That's right. It's
time
not this over prescription. But I don't know about you, but I feel that there is a little bit of a shift.
Yeah.
Where people are questioning.
Big time.
And then there is this almost like, I don't want to say mistrust, but there is a slight degree of mistrust in the institution.
Because of COVID. I think.
Yeah.
It started around the time where everybody's...
There's this like pendulum swing to the other side.
There's questions. People are confused.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing because ultimately the more you question,
you learn.
You are, and you're advocating for yourself and you are your own expert kind of thing. It's always great to get the overall, I guess, diagnosis.
Know your body.
Or things like that. Yeah.
Have the power in that you know your body because if you don't know your body, how can you expect somebody else to know your body?
That's so true.
It's your body.
That's so true.
So when I speak to my clients, the first thing I say is, how does it make you feel?
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you what to do. I can help you and I help you navigate. Obviously, there are certain guidelines. Yes. But I ask them how it makes them feel. And sometimes they have no idea. And that's okay. But you have to learn that intuition. To eat intuitively based on how you feel. Not based on what works for your friend, but it works for your mom.
Yeah, it's so true.
Not like that.
Honestly, eating has become like an automatic thing.
Yeah.
It's not a
thought out process.
It's not a thought out process. And it's not something that you would consider as part of a healing process. It's almost like it's almost like a reflex that you do. You're hungry, you eat.
Mhm.
You know, it's a lot of the times it's mindless.
Yes.
And to be mindful about eating, I think that's why, you know, for example, with our children and, you know, the kids of this generation, I'm always worried about, for example, eating in front of the TV or things like that. Look, and I get it.
Habits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's this idea of mindless eating and not knowing what is probably good for you.
Also,
or not.
when are you full?
When are you full?
Because we were taught, not my household, but I know a lot of people were taught when they were young. A lot of my clients have this issue. This is where it stems from. And they say, when I was a kid, I would be, you know, just spoon fed and like constantly, you know, you have to finish everything on your plate. And I never had that in my house, thankfully. So I think me and my siblings, thankfully, always had quite a healthy relationship with food in that sense. But I'm seeing it now. I
mean, I tend to do that. My son's quite a picky eater, and I'm like, just finish it.
You're like, shoot,
next bite. I should probably
No, honestly,
stop.
We all do it. Yeah. We all do it. But
because I know like 4 bites.
I also know she didn't eat. I don't really do the whole, you know, constant snacking. It's very limited. So I know you're hungry.
Yeah.
You have to be hungry. So I'm very mindful that I don't overserve food. Like I give her a portion that I know she can finish. I don't give her too much. And if the last few bites she doesn't want, I respect that. But if you tell me after 2 bites, I'm like, no, babes. No. Like, eat your food. Yeah, eat your dinner.
You're going to be hungry.
Yeah, like I have I'm also not perfect. We all have. No. Just eat one bite of food. No, I'm definitely eat so you can go to sleep and have a good night. Like, no, it's important.
No, it definitely is. And I think I think food is life. Like at the end of the day,
it's your fuel.
It's your fuel. Yeah. And it's just, that's why I was really excited about this, because it's so simple and it's not like it doesn't have to be this transformative thing.
People are complicating it
massively. To be honest, I'm also a little bit.
We all do it.
Intimidated, you know, sometimes, but also at the same time, don't, because food is just a part of you living.
Go back to basics.
Exactly.
That's it.
And it's kind of unlearning
that's
my fast habits that we pick up just for
trends,
diets.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, it's a whole. I can talk for hours.
No, I know. I mean, we do have a limit, but no, it's very, very, you know, interesting. And I think it's one of these things that needs a lot more focus, just because it is so easily accessible. Yeah. You don't necessarily need to be put on a very strict meal plan. I think it's also really nicely tailored to people. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love this whole topic. I'm super interested. So I'm just going to keep asking you 50,000
Go
questions.
for it. Shoot. Hit me.
What exactly do you do with your clients?
So I started off doing my one-on-ones. That was sort of where I started almost 2 years ago now. When I had my second daughter, I went back to work and I started one-on-one. So it's me, it's the client, it's a package. It's 4, 6, 8, or 12 weeks. Yeah. I don't do a one-off consultation because I find it useless. Why am I charging you for an hour of your time? You're not going to get anything. You can ask me questions. Maybe you'll learn a few things, but you're not going to do what I'm telling you to do by yourself. It's not easy to follow. No. So I stopped doing them. I used to do them. I stopped doing them. So now it's programs. Okay. And I work with each person. We do a Zoom call. It's an hour. It's all virtual. And then we do follow-up calls every week. I hold your hand. Like, I am with you every step of the way. If you go to LPM and you're at the restaurant and you don't know what to eat, you send me the menu. I know LPM, so it's fine. I know what the food is. Some people are in like the US and I'm like, send me the menu because I don't know where you're going. Yeah. Everything is, it's hand holding.
I'm going to start doing that with you. It's hand holding.
Yeah, go for it. A lot of my friends do it and they're like, sorry, we're annoying you. Because there's so many things. Everyone's like, oh, well, I can't do the program because I'm going to a wedding in Paris. I'm like, so? Who cares? You can do it. Just send me where you're going. No big deal.
Food is everywhere.
Food is everywhere. What's the big deal? You can have all types of food in Paris. Is great. Yummy. Like, there's nothing wrong with traveling or eating out. Just obviously not all the time, but it fits in. You have to fit it into your life. I don't want to pull you out of your life. I want it to fit in your house. I want to feed your husband and your kids. I don't want to just feed you. Otherwise, it's never going to work. It's never going to be doable. So all these like meal plan services, okay, they'll feed you for a bit. Then you're going to get bored. And then what? What's the next step? My step is to feed the house. Whether you're alone or you live with your husband or your kids or your parents or whatever it is. And all of my clients do that. And they make the recipes that I provide for everybody because they're yummy. Really they're delicious recipes. Yeah. They're like family friendly. They're not diet food.
And that's it. It's not one pot solution.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, eat some steamed salmon and broccoli. And then what? You're going to hate salmon in a month and then you're not going to want to smell it or touch it. and you're going to be bored, and then you're going to go back to square one. It's just, it doesn't work in the long run. So my goal is to enter your lifestyle, not to take you out of your lifestyle and fix it for 4 weeks. And then I go away and everybody goes back to square one. That's like the priority is fitting into someone's lifestyle. Yeah. So that's what I started off doing 2 years ago. I'm still doing that, which is amazing. I love working one-on-one because it's much more tailored, obviously, to the person. Now, what I launched at the beginning of last year, and by beginning of last year, I mean September, because my year starts in September.
Same. Oh my God.
So I just have to clarify. I'm not talking about January.
No, it's the same. I go with the school year. That's how I calculate things.
Yeah. So September 2023. I started doing...
So about a year ago.
Almost. I started doing group programs because not everybody can afford to do one-on-ones. They're not feasible for everybody. And I totally understand that. And I was getting a lot of requests for more feasible options. So I decided to create...
friends or, even...
They're big. Yeah. They're bigger programs than it's not a small group. It's a big group. It's up to 50 people.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But you know what? Because it's all condensed into a WhatsApp group, it's great. Because if somebody has the same question, it's all answered in one group, which is amazing. So I love my groups. The vibes of my groups, like the women that come together to do my groups, it's special. There's just something about each one that is so unique. And there's just a special energy to it. It's really nice because everybody has the same goal, almost. So I have a gut one for the gut health.
I saw that.
I have a letting go one, which is more tailored to weight loss. But to be honest, you can do it even if you don't want to lose weight. I just adjust something minor. It's not a big deal. And then I have, detox programs. Don't love the word detox, but it gets the point across a bit better. So those are like a month where if you need a bit of a reset, you do that.
Okay.
So I have different ones. Okay. And those are great.
I have to ask, why don't you like the word detox?
I find it a very, obviously detoxing is a thing. Your body knows how to detoxify. So I don't know. I just find it a bit of a negative word. You got to detox. No, you don't, but you want to feel good.
Yeah.
Because when you go on holiday and people come back, they're like, oh, I have to detox.
Yeah. I find it's very much a trend thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I called it resets for a long time.
Yeah.
But then so many messages. Is it a detox? I'm like, oh, I'll just call it a detox. Yes, it's a detox. Okay. It is. It is. That's essentially what it is. You're cutting out all the foods that you probably are making you not feel good. Yeah. And it's a month and the results are incredible. Amazing. So I have a few different group programs.
I think, do you also have like a postnatal one?
It's coming.
Okay.
That's in demand. That's very in demand.
Yeah.
But most of my postnatal clients that want to do a group do my letting go. Because there's a lot of similarities to the way that the postnatal will be structured. Maybe some differences if you're breastfeeding and stuff. It's a little different in terms of fats and, protein and etc. But most of them do the letting go and they love it. I make adjustments if they need. Of course. Yeah.
Like from person to person.
Yeah. So if somebody messages me and says I'm breastfeeding, I'll tell them what to change, but I'm working on it.
Some of you may know that this podcast and Keto Real have formed a partnership and they are a sponsor of today's episode. If you guys haven't heard of Keto Real, then stick around for the next 40 seconds or so and I'll tell you all about this amazing brand. What they offer is 100% keto certified cookies, chocolates, snacks, and even coffee. They've recently come up with a brand new line of 75% dark chocolate that's infused with collagen peptides and probiotics, and it's called the Cabela range. It is absolutely my favorite. The one that I love the most is the hazelnut cream. I always say the proof is in the pudding. So I can talk about Keto Real all day, but unless you try it, you will not know how good it is. So I urge you guys, head over to their Instagram account, which is Keto Real Shop, or on their website, which is www.ketoreal.shop. Check out their wide range of products. You will get a 10% discount off your order once you use the code REA10. Select from their incredible products and let me know which one's your favorite. Enjoy. Just out of curiosity, so when you sort of meet with a client, do you sort of go through their own lifestyle and their own eating habits and things like that? Do you do any things like blood tests and things like that?
Well, I'm not a doctor, right? So I have to disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to med school. It's not my place to review blood work, really. Okay. I can. It's not, I did that. Part of my sort of certification was to sort of get a general idea, but it's not something that I'm medically trained to do. So what I've done now is I've partnered with a clinic called Valio. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
And now I created my own blood test with them, which is like my well-being package.
Okay.
So I recommend that to my clients, and then I can track their results, which is amazing because I can see what's going on. And then if there's something that I don't know, I'll say, I don't know. And I refer you to the correct functional doctor.
Perfect.
Which I have, who I love. She's amazing. So yes, I do. I don't focus too much on blood work.
You sort of guide them in that.
It depends. If somebody is really not feeling good, of course you need to get a blood test. But if you're feeling okay and then food changes are enough, then, you're good.
Yeah.
But I do recommend blood work anyways, once to twice a year.
Just as a baseline.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And I think, I mean, again, I can only speak for myself. I'm approaching 40. I've just turned 39. And I keep hearing that 40 is quite a pivotal stage.
Pivotal age.
Yeah. And that it kind of, once you sort of do things sort of steadily, sort of in the improvement of health in your 40s, you're kind of setting yourself up quite well.
Of course.
Moving forward. So I'm just really quite
interested
as to where I am. I mean, I don't have any outwardly, sort of
good
major issues, but I mean, also
everyone has something.
Yeah, everyone's got something.
Yeah. Little things.
Yeah. And I think that's the trajectory that I
think it's normal because I'm noticing a trend with my clients, especially now because I went back to work after the summer. I was off for 6 weeks. I needed that to switch off. I came back, went straight back to work, and I had quite a lot of clients to start with for one-on-ones.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing a pattern now where it's either little changes in going into your 20s or changes going into your 30s or changes going into your 40s. And all my clients are in these categories specifically. And they're like, all of a sudden I feel X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm like, I guess when you go into the new decade, maybe something changes. It's kind of like a light switch. So if you're not really taking good care of yourself, your body's like,
it's time
wake
to
up.
Do it. Yeah.
It's time to make a change. Something you're doing is not working for me.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that it's always right before
it's that little
switch.
Cusp. Yeah. It is
crazy.
Very interesting.
So I've noticed that.
No, it's definitely something that has been on the back of my mind. And to be honest, I feel like all I do is seek out this information. Like,
hello.
Like if you see,
you're attracting it.
Exactly. In the Instagram or even my websites, it keeps popping up. All this, like,
it hears you.
It
also
really
monitors you.
Oh my God. So that's why I was so excited to sit down with you because again, healing power of food and how it could be a natural medicine.
Yep.
I mean, how does food, in your opinion, play in the healing process?
It's everything. I think it's everything because I always say this because I've been doing a lot of videos on my Instagram and, I've seen a lot of comments, right? And so many of the comments are like, well, my great grandmother did X, Y, and Z, and she lived to be 150, a type of comments. And I'm like, that was over 100 years ago, probably. That's not the day we're in. We're not eating the food, sadly, that they had back then, which was pure. Even if they had like a whole tub of butter back then, it was probably so pure and real and fresh that it wouldn't have the same effect as a butter now. So you can't compare. So this is what I'm trying to relay on my page because I think a lot of people are misguided on what foods are actually good and not good. And for me, it all comes down to ingredients. Look at the ingredients, at what you're eating with everything. The quality of your protein, the quality of your dairy, which to be fair, protein, you can get, decent stuff here. Like in the Middle East, it's quite good. Yeah. Dairy, not a fan. There's the A1 cow. There's the A2 cow. There's all the research there. You can literally just Google A1 cow versus A2 cow and it will explain why an A2 cow is superior. We don't have access to A2 cows in the Middle East, at least not to my knowledge. So maybe I'm wrong.
What kind of cows do we have?
We have A1 cows. It's the standard cows, which is for the masses.
What does that mean?
So the protein in the milk from an A1 cow, the protein, the casein, is completely different to that of an A2 cow. It's like a different type of cow. That's it. And the way that A1 is obviously probably a cheaper one, easier to get your hands on. I don't know. There must be so many reasons why people are using A1 cows and maybe A2 cows are less available.
So the protein or the casein from the A2 cows is generally regarded as better?
Yes.
As opposed to the
A1 cow. And what you're seeing in a supermarket is all A1. Okay. Unless it specifies it's A2, which you will never see here. Okay. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a farm somewhere here that does it. I could be wrong. But to my knowledge, Today, there's no such thing. So it's a very different situation with dairy.
Yeah.
Then you have packaged foods. Packaged food is everywhere. We all eat it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Look at the ingredients. What is in there?
Well, what is in there?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's thickeners, there's the sugar alcohols, there's artificial sweeteners like stevia that everyone's obsessed with. No, I'm sorry.
I'm laughing because
No, I'm not judging. I'm just saying like there's stevia, which is in the little packet that you sweeten your tea with. What color is that? What color is the powder?
White.
Okay. Do you know what a stevia leaf looks like?
No.
It's green.
I mean, yeah.
It's green. It's a leaf. It's a green leaf. So if you get organic stevia leaf powder, that's a green powder. Why is it white? What happened? What happened? Why did it go from green to white?
Processing.
Exactly. So you can't say stevia is bad. You have to specify. If it just says stevia, that's a white powder.
Okay.
That is lab made. That is artificial. That is not good for you. And your body doesn't know what to do. It's completely it's not a real food. So when people come at me saying, well, honey is high in fructose, so it's the same as sugar. No. Honey is one of the most healing foods. There's enzymes, there's vitamins, there's minerals. There's so much in honey. Not all honey is good quality. Of course not. You have to get a good one.
Yeah.
Like I try to get raw, organic, unfiltered honey.
Yeah.
You can find that easily here.
Yeah.
We have good honey around, all around us. So of course, quality is important, but you do not compare honey to sugar. People are making that comparison. Oh, it gives you the same glucose spike. No, it does not. It absolutely does not. Unless you're downing a whole bottle of honey.
That's right.
No, come on. I don't believe that. It's complete nonsense.
It's confusing though.
Very confusing. Haven't you been told honey's the same and it's so sweet and it's not good for you? Have you been told?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm definitely in the camp thinking like, well, I don't want a
Well, what do you mean?
I don't want a sugar spike.
Yeah.
I don't want the
I don't want a
extra.
glucose spike.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'll
It's very
reach over
confusing.
to the stevia.
Yeah.
It's all natural. That's what it says on the little packet.
Monk fruit. Everyone's obsessed with monk fruit now.
Yeah.
Go to monk fruit. Get a bag. Look at the back. It says erythritol. What's erythritol? It's a sugar alcohol. It's not even monk fruit. If you could get a pure monk fruit that is 100% monk fruit, that's okay because it's a real fruit extract, whatever.
Okay.
But usually, most of the brands, same thing with avocado oil. Go to Spinneys.
Oh,
Look at the brands.
I just bought an avocado oil.
Look at the back.
Okay.
Ingredients, vegetable oil. Vegetable oil.
I'm going to go
at
home and look at
There's
it.
one brand I use and it's Earth Goods and it's the only one
Okay, thank God.
that has avocado oil. I love Earth Goods.
But they come so tiny.
They're tiny and they're expensive.
They're so expensive.
I use olive oil a lot. Olive oil is I get it from Jordan.
Is that a better
love it.
alternative? Because I have no
I
idea
love
what to
olive
cook with
oil.
now, honestly.
Olive oil. I know people say that it's not the best to cook with. It doesn't have a very high smoke point and I get it and I agree. But the taste and the texture, I do cook with it. I'm not going to lie. So it's like my vice. You can have one vice, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not perfect.
No, I mean, honest, but at this point in time, what kills me is we've got so much advancement, whether it's in medicine or technology or media, or we've moved so far ahead of our ancestors, yet we're also so far behind in quality of food.
It's confusing because at the end of the day, think of a brand. If you were a brand, what's your priority? Making money.
Profit, yeah.
So if you want to make money, do you know how expensive it is to make an avocado oil or make, I don't know, a granola bar or whatever? It's expensive. Getting good food is expensive and they don't want to have smaller margins. There's already very low margins in the food industry. They don't want to go lower. So they're trying to make it cheaper.
I mean, it's just
That's
kind
the
of like
priority.
this cycle.
Yeah.
The food quality is bad.
Then you get sick.
Pharmaceutical companies profit. That goes around, that goes around, that goes around.
That's
and
not
the
a
only people that
coincidence.
suffer are the consumer.
But nobody questions it. They're like, oh, well, I'm sick because I have an autoimmune disease because it's genetic.
But the autoimmune
Nobody questions
disease,
it.
like, has run rampant.
I know.
I mean, literally, I had a functional medicine specialist here.
Yeah.
They were telling me that basically the entire population, as you know it, is inflamed.
Yeah, exactly. Why?
Because of everything that you
food.
consume.
Environment, chemicals around you, cleaning products in your house, makeup, perfume, shampoo, conditioner, name it. Like all these things, I'm not saying, change every single thing. I'm not perfect. I probably do it 90%. I'm not going to lie. Everyone's like, oh, well, you do this. I'm like, yeah, I can afford to because I take such good care of my food that I can afford to do that 10% flexibility with certain things. But if you're doing all of them, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to really affect your body, especially if you're more susceptible. Some people are more susceptible to, products and scents and all these things.
Yeah.
So being mindful of what you're buying, not just food, everything.
No, I know.
It's hard.
It's difficult because you just find that you start off on a disadvantage.
Because you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I think. And
it should
everybody's
be like a government mandate.
right.
Like it should be something that either the government really, really heavily
Regulate.
regulate, whether it's FDA or, I mean, to be honest, I've given up hope with the FDA at this point.
Well, they want your money from the pharmaceutical industry,
Exactly.
you know?
I mean, what kind of
they don't want
agency
they don't want you to be
food
healthy.
and drug? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
They don't want you to be healthy.
No. And it's just, there is this lack of trust, I guess, definitely from my part. And because I've been, obviously, as a mother, I've got the responsibility of feeding children.
Yeah.
And that
It changes.
scares me.
Yeah.
Honestly, so much, just because I'm touch wood. I don't really have an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've lucked out.
No.
But I don't really want the poor quality of food
To get to you.
to get to
Of
my
course not.
kids.
Of course not.
You know, in this generation, I don't really want them to sort of get into their teens and we run into issues. But
Well, it's education.
It is.
Like I was in a great household in terms of always having good food and healthy food and all of that. But I still did eat a lot of dairy, a lot of gluten, and a lot of things that sugar.
But you wouldn't know.
No.
You wouldn't know.
Nobody
to
at the
point it at
time.
that.
No. But then I got PCOS.
Yeah.
Why did I get PCOS?
Do you know, I was speaking to somebody and they were saying PCOS is quite prevalent in sort of the Asian, Middle Eastern thing, as if it's just an expected.
I mean, my research in terms of what I've seen is that the starch intake is higher in Asia in general, like rice, noodles, pasta, breads, all of that. And sugar. We eat a lot of sweets, not going to lie.
I had like 4 balawas yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, we love our sweets. Most people love their sweets. And sadly, we eat the sweets that are, sugar syrup and white sugar and all of that. And that's not going to help your insulin, right? And if you're not helping your insulin's a hormone. What's going to happen? It's going to make you have some sort of imbalance. Mostly it goes to PCOS a lot of the time. That's why it's so common. Okay. But PCOS doesn't mean anything unless you're ticking all the boxes for the symptoms of PCOS. So you can have PCOS and not have any symptoms.
Completely asymptomatic.
But I still have technically PCOS. I have the extra follicles on my ovaries, but it doesn't mean anything because thankfully I've healed all the other symptoms. Yeah. So it can be like this dormant thing that doesn't really mean anything if you're taking care of yourself.
That's right.
So it's manageable. But I think it all stems from the diet. Yeah. That's where it starts. So you have to be a bit more mindful about your intake of sugar, of obviously very starchy foods. I'm seeing people do all these, obsession with glucose. I get it. I see that
was one of my questions. Should we be monitoring?
Yeah. So I'm actually going to get a monitor.
Okay.
Just to film that, dates and fruits and honey do not have the same effects.
I'm really excited to see that.
That's my new series. It's coming out soon. I haven't gotten the monitor yet. I'm going to order one. I'm actually going to do it just to prove people wrong.
Well, this is the thing.
I'm adamant on doing it.
You've got the camp of people saying to you, you must monitor because you have to know what spikes your...
Everyone's different. Everybody reacts differently to food. So to be fair, even if I don't react, you might react differently, which I understand. And the way you eat food is important. So if you're having dates first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, it's not going to be the same as if you eat dates right after a meal, like a protein-filled meal. It's not going to be the same spike. So it's all very determinant on the way you eat. It's not just about what you eat, like the order in which you eat. So there's a lot, there's a lot of behind it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of aspects go behind it. It's not that black and white, but still, I'm going to do it. I'm still going to do it.
Would you recommend people do it?
Well, if you're someone who, follows the basic guidelines of food, so you're not eating refined sugar, which I know is hard, but it's doable. You can do it. There's very good options in Dubai, especially here or US, UK, where you can get the processed refined sugar-free options that have, a bit of maple syrup or a little bit of coconut sugar, not too much, like a little bit of less sugar options like chocolates and biscuits. They exist. So if you're having those instead of the Kit Kats and the Snickers and all of that,
the good stuff.
Yeah, the real deal, then you shouldn't be too concerned if you're okay in that department.
Okay.
If your diet is kind of out of control
and all over the place,
what do you think the monitor is going to say? I mean, it's obvious to me, I don't think you need a monitor. Why pay all that money? Make the changes first.
Yeah.
And then see how you feel.
I know what you're saying is kind of like, just take a look.
Try. experiment on yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my clients. I'm like, within the first week, you're going to get over your sugar cravings. And they all do. All of them.
If you cut it out.
And I have sugar addicts. Yeah. I have like major sugar addicts who come to me. They eat like 3 Snickers bars in one seating.
Oh, no.
On the spot. Like they have a proper addiction.
It is addictive.
It is addictive.
Yeah.
It is addictive. It's supposed to be.
No, and it is 100% addictive. To be honest, I tend to control very, very much.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, definitely if you've got, biscuits in front of me, I will always have one.
But you know how to control the amount.
But I think that's honestly, it's only come recently, like
with time.
After children.
Yeah, with age.
Like that, with age.
With wisdom.
And I read this one thing that I feel I don't know why it's stuck in my mind. Moms tend to eat off the kids' plate.
Yeah.
I've stopped doing that.
You have to stop doing that.
And I made it an active.
It's like snacking.
Because they would have things on their plates and I think, okay, I'll just finish that.
I'll just try this nugget.
And then when it came down to me eating something,
You're
I was quite full.
Yeah.
The majority of the kids, what they were eating was probably like a little pizza or a little bit of a sandwich. And I've eaten all that potential sugar.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of stopped. And then I really focused. I can't remember who said it, but
it's true. A lot of moms do this.
Yeah. I thought to myself, I have to stop doing that. From that point on,
it's been better.
Yeah. And I've been really careful
to focus on your meals.
To focus on my meals.
Focus on your meals.
And what I do now, which we'll get into, is almost, I kind of know when I know it sounds really bad, but not indulge, but just kind of let go a little bit. And it's usually within my cycle.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's
flexibility.
I wait till I really, really crave it.
Totally.
And that's when, it would just be nice,
An extra little
exactly
bonus.
So that's, I don't know, in my head, I've rationalized it.
The thing is, everyone has their own structure.
Yeah.
And everybody has something that works. And if you have that balance and you found that balance, like now, 12 years into my nutrition journey, let's say, I can go to a restaurant and if I want to have a bite of a dessert, I have it.
Yeah.
But I know I can have 1 bite or 2 bites. I don't have to eat the whole thing. I could, but I don't. I have that self-control and it won't make me crave sugar the next day. Cause I've gained that discipline. Usually if you eat sugar, you crave more sugar. It's addictive.
Yeah.
You open the gates. Drug. That's it. You have it the night before, you have it the next day. I've gotten to the point where I can control that. So if you're at that point where you can be so super disciplined to have it and not crave it, go for it. But I don't do that all the time.
Yeah.
It's if and when I'm in a restaurant, my husband gets a dessert, I have a bite, whatever. Yeah. That's fine. I'm only human.
No, 100%.
Yeah, but most people don't have the discipline.
Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely something that you have to actively think of.
Yes.
And I think, like you said, it's overarching craving. And this thing, and it's not necessarily sweet. It could be just, some
food,
snacks, or a bit of rice or pasta. Not to say that they're bad, but it's all sugar. Anyway.
It's all sugar.
Yeah.
It's all starch.
Misconceptions around nutrition,
Ooh.
holistic nutrition. What has been the most bizarre things that you've heard that you kind of want to be like, no, that's absolutely
There's a lot.
Not true.
There's a lot of things that I don't like about diet culture.
Okay.
So I'll start there.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, I don't like anything about
what
diet. I don't like anything.
About diet? Since I was born,
there's been diets.
It's been a diet. And I can hear my mom, in the background, it was, I don't remember what type of diet growing up. Atkins. And then it was is that the
paleo? That's the high protein.
The high protein.
Yeah. There's another one, Atkins, and there's another one. It's the same one. It just has a different name.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the follow on from Atkins. Yes. And then paleo, and then keto. And I mean, honestly,
this is my biggest issue.
It's hard to keep up.
It's really hard to keep up. So I did all of them when I was trying to lose weight, right? Because I was not really educated yet at that point on nutrition. So I was like, it's what you learned in school. You gain weight, you go on a diet. That's kind of my whole high school experience. Most of my friends were on diets because they had a little bit of weight to lose. I never did, but then I got there. I was like, oh, it's my turn now. I'm going to do my diet. So I did Atkins. I did the vegan diet for a long time, which is kind of a different, not really a diet. It's a bit different. Yeah, that was a bit separate. Paleo and keto. So I've tried a lot. And what you're doing in all of these diets, essentially, is cutting out carbs. They all have the same foundation.
Yeah.
That's it. Keto has more fat. Atkins has more protein. It's just a different combination of cut out carbs. Okay. Why? Because you'll lose weight, right? That's the goal. You will lose weight. Absolutely. You're going to lose weight because you're cutting off a whole food group. Now, if you lower your starch intake, you will still lose weight. So it's not to say it's wrong. I'm not saying it's like incorrect. You will lose weight. Yes. But to what end? You're going to do it for, people do keto now. Keto's in and the carnivore diet.
I have to say,
yeah,
I feel like with keto, I tend to gravitate towards it because that's generally what I eat.
Yeah. So it's okay for you.
Meat and, things like that. And
again, it works for some people.
Some butter.
And you can have the basis of a diet without following it
like
100%. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying this is why I'm saying it's not wrong. It's more just cutting out full carbs does not last. You need to have carbohydrates. This is my issue. And I feel like, especially with women, premenopausal women specifically, you have to be careful with your hormones, right? And if you're cutting out a whole food group, maybe not in the beginning, but eventually that is going to catch up with your hormones. And you cannot live without good carbohydrates. You're telling me to cut out white flour and white bread and white pasta. Yeah, go for it. That's cool. I'm good with that. But a little bit of rice, a little bit of quinoa, a little bit of lentils and beans, if you can stomach them.
Sweet potatoes.
The good things, sweet potatoes, like these things have nutrients and there's a purpose for them in our diets. So removing them fully, I don't like.
Okay.
So anything that does that, I'm not a fan of because, especially based on what I've seen with my clients, they come to me after the diet. That's who's coming to me.
And they're like, it's not working.
And they're like, I lost a bunch of weight and then I went back to my diet because I was craving bread and I was craving rice and I was really craving things. So I went back to it and I gained all the weight back. So now help me. That's who's coming to me mostly. And I get it because it's very hard to understand because it looks so appealing and shiny and perfect on the outside, but it doesn't always, you can't sustain it. That's the issue for me.
So do you think that, for example, aside from the diets, there's also other methods of, like, for example, weight management, like calorie counting?
Well, calorie counting is another one that
is a diet.
It's a type of, essentially, yeah. It's anything you're doing to restrict yourself, I consider a diet, right? I watch a lot of TikTok videos. I'm on TikTok. It's my rabbit hole. I go down a rabbit hole every day. Just scroll. I'm not even an hour. It's so bad. And down my rabbit hole, I see a lot of younger girls, more sort of in their early 20s, saying their experience with weight loss and how they went on a calorie deficit. And, if you eat McDonald's and, you can still lose weight as long as you're on a calorie deficit. Essentially, that's what they're kind of advertising.
I got you.
And I understand because they're not wrong. They're not wrong. But at some point, all of this processed, awful food,
it's going to cascade and
catch up to you.
Yeah.
And the thing is with me is that it caught up to me when I was 20. Most people, that's young. Most people, unfortunately, it catches up to them when they're 30. And then they're like, oh, I can't get pregnant, or, oh, autoimmune, or whatever it is. And it hits you. But nobody, it's too late by that point. Why wait till it's too late? Why don't you make the changes earlier? So it does matter.
It's so true.
What food you're eating. And I agree that calorie deficit, you can lose weight. But again, if you feel restricted, it's not going to be sustainable.
This is it.
I can't do the restriction thing. It does not work.
If you're hungry, always,
there's a problem.
There's a problem.
Something's wrong. If my clients are hungry, I'm like, immediately tell me.
Yeah.
I have an issue with that.
This sort of feeling of, being satiated with food is essential, I find.
Yeah.
To be able to kind of get on with your day.
So to be happy, to be in a good mood.
So this food noise.
Yes.
This.
I'm done. I'm closed.
Yeah.
I'm closed for business. I don't need anything until my dinner.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Between breakfast and lunch and dinner, if you are hungry, you're doing something wrong. Very wrong, because I eat my meals and now my clients are the same. So I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about over 100 women I've worked with. And a lot of them were snackers. Most people are snackers. It's quite common. Yeah. And now they message me sort of, months later, which I love because I love hearing from them after the program. And they all say, I never thought that this would be possible, that between meals, I don't even think about food. I don't even if there's so much food in front of me, I won't touch it because I'm not hungry. I'm so satisfied. I'm like, oh, how rewarding is that, to help people feel like that. So if you're not satisfied, there's a problem. That's kind of my easiest way of putting it.
That's actually really good advice.
Yeah.
Because it's so true.
Change something.
Change something.
Yeah.
Something's gone wrong.
Portions are wrong.
Yeah.
If you're eating a salad with some chicken for lunch,
Yeah.
it's not going to work. You're going to be hungry in an hour. I can't have a salad for lunch. Are you kidding me?
No.
I'll be like eating my fingers.
No, yeah.
No way.
It needs to be.
Salad's not food. Salad
No.
is not food.
It's like a nice
It's a
entree
side.
to- yeah,
It's a side dish.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have to ask, and I'm going to jump a few questions
Yeah.
because this led so nicely to it. But then obviously now we've got a huge movement of intermittent fasting.
Oh gosh.
I had to ask.
I did a video on this. Did you see it?
I did.
People were not happy with me.
I've got 2 videos I want to talk about. The intermittent fasting.
They were not
one
happy.
And the coffee one.
They were very upset with me. Coffee one was way worse. They were very upset with me.
I didn't really understand.
I
what was
became the
problem.
devil. I became like evil.
I mean, that's a bit of on the social media side, but
Yeah.
with intermittent fasting.
Yeah, it's a big trend right now.
It's a huge
Not now. For a while. It's been trending for about five years, I would say.
it?
More.
I think-
Yeah, a lot of
yeah.
people have been doing it.
It's become, I mean, look, I find if you want to go back a little bit in terms of centuries, every religion and belief, there is always
A fasting-
somewhat a fasting
totally.
period.
Yep.
And to be honest, I find I get that. And I think it's the way I've kind of rationalized it with my very rudimentary idea of nutrition
Yeah.
is the fact that you're giving your body a little bit of a rest, you know,
Yes,
a
from
rest
food.
from food
Mhm.
and, you know, sort of a little bit of a quote unquote detox.
Mhm.
Now there's so many ways in which fasting has come into play.
Yeah, on
I
a
mean,
daily
for us,
basis.
yeah, for me and you,
Yep.
it's fasting. I always, when I was younger, it's Ramadan.
Ramadan.
So Ramadan is the month.
It's a
where
month.
Fast.
Mhm.
It's 1 month. You've got a window of eating and not eating and things like that. And, you know, when I sort of was piecing it all together, now people are fasting on a daily basis, depending
Forever.
forever,
Yeah.
you know, and it's
Indefinitely.
exactly. Now, I have to say I fall victim to that purely based on the fact that I now associate meals with a nice break in my day.
Mhm.
So I can never really sit at 7 o'clock with all the chaos to
And
try
have
to get out of the
breakfast.
house and have breakfast. I might grab, like you said, a date or something like
Mhm.
that. But the next meal that I can have is probably around 11
Yep.
or midday.
Mhm.
And that is honestly just a little bit of time for me to
Yeah.
take an hour, have a meal, a pretty
Eat
decent.
properly, focus on what you're eating. Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel like I do intermittent
Mm-hmm.
fast technically because I also tend to have dinner with the kids
Yes.
fairly early.
Early.
And of course, when we go out to dinner, it's a different thing. But what is intermittent
What do
fasting?
we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's intermittent fasting? I think that's number one.
Yes.
And should we be doing it?
So intermittent fasting. I looked into intermittent fasting years ago
Yeah.
because I think it was right after I had Aisha, my oldest daughter, and it was COVID. And I was waking up, and I've always been like this. I wake up without an appetite. So I naturally
Same,
don't wake up that hungry. And I remember reading about intermittent fasting. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try it out. So what I was doing for about maybe all of my postpartum journey, let's say 6 months, 7 months ish, I was in Dubai. It was COVID, lockdown. It was not much to do.
No.
I wasn't moving much. So I went on the intermittent fasting diet or whatever
Okay.
you want to call it. And I was having black coffee first thing in the morning for around 6 months. And I wasn't having coffee before I had Aisha. I had cut off coffee for 3 years.
Okay.
So I went back to it because I had a baby and I was tired.
Exhausted.
And I was like, I need my coffee back. Like,
100%.
sorry, no.
Yeah.
So I put it back. And I put it back on an empty stomach during my intermittent fasting days. And my period got messed up big time. It got really, really messed up. And I already have a hormonal history, right? So I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. So I kept going. I didn't connect the dots. I kind of just kept going. I was a first time mom. I was all over the
You're
place.
like, maybe I'm tired. It's
yeah,
the baby.
I wasn't
I don't know
hungry,
what. Yeah.
kept going.
Yeah.
And my period was really messed up. It got really, like, I kept skipping and it just got a bit confused. Anyways, eventually, long story short, I figured out that it was disrupting my hormones and my period. So I started eating breakfast again. Alongside that, coffee was also not doing well on an empty stomach. It was really intense because I have black coffee and it was very harsh and I was getting a lot of stomach issues. It's like, let me just change this up. This is not working for me. So for me, it didn't work for a long time. Now going back to Ramadan, I fast in Ramadan. Firstly, I don't drink coffee in Ramadan, so I don't have this issue of like
Same.
coffee on an empty stomach. I
Same.
cut off caffeine. It's kind of like my thing I give up.
Do you know, honestly, I'm quite surprised in Ramadan how I give up coffee.
Yeah.
Because I don't
Most
know when
people
to
don't.
put it in.
I don't want to.
No, it's just,
I don't want to be addicted to something.
Yeah.
I can do it without coffee.
100%. I have to say,
I'm good.
the first few days I'm finding it a bit difficult.
I have headaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get headaches.
But it's not like I'm going to have a coffee and iftar. I won't be able to sleep at night.
You're
But
good.
it's funny.
I cut it off too.
Yeah.
And it's a very healing process. Fasting can be super healing. I agree. It gives your digestion a break, your gut a break. You're not sort of always eating, which we tend to do, snacking, eating meals, snacking more sugar. It's a lot. So when you take a break with fasting, I'm okay with that. That can be very healing. My issue stems from constant fasting. And fasting intermittently can be anywhere between, I think, 16 to 20 hours. So
yeah, that's
from
also
7
what is
to,
considered a fast.
Yeah. So I think it's around 16. Anything between 6, I mean, obviously and more. People sometimes can go till 4 p.m. So some people do it a bit.
Some people are doing like a 24-hour fast.
It's a lot.
A 48-hour fast.
Now, what I will say is that I was watching a lot of sort of podcasts and listening to podcasts on this topic with doctors.
Yeah.
And not typical doctors, more like nutrition educated doctors. I forgot her name. I wish I remembered her name so I can recommend people listen to it. I'll try to find it for you.
Is she the one Fast Like a Girl?
No.
Oh.
It was like a very random, she was on a segment. Like the doctor came in as a guest.
A guest.
Yeah. And I was reading it and she was sharing and she showed all the statistics and was sharing all the sources and all of that. And she was saying that all the research, all the research that everybody's like, oh, but intermittent fasting is amazing because all of that comes from the testing that was done or the research that was done on males.
Yes, it must have been Mindy Pell's.
And maybe.
Yeah.
Must have been.
Yeah. She's very much focused around the cycle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was done on men and postmenopausal women. So if you're not a man and you're not postmenopausal, that doesn't apply to you. So all of these benefits that everybody's, like, oh, I feel amazing. You might feel amazing for a month, maybe 2 months, but eventually it can really mess with you. I don't like skipping meals. Now, going back to glucose, if you don't eat in the morning, which a lot of people don't, and then you have lunch at 12, 1, 2, whatever it is, you really go super, a long time before you eat, your glucose spikes 10 times more because you've waited too long. And your sugar goes down so much when you sleep. And it's already low. So you're doing your day, you're running around, it's dropping. And then you eat, whatever you eat, even if it's the healthiest meal, your glucose skyrockets.
Why? Sense. Yeah,
why do that to yourself? Sense. Just eat your breakfast.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a gourmet breakfast. You don't have to have poached eggs and toast. You can literally have something small, a little bit of food.
What would your ideal 24 hours look like?
So I wake up at around 7, usually. I have a smoothie, which I know, again, gets a bad rep. It's high in sugar, but I put protein powder.
What do you put in your smoothie?
So I put frozen berries, half a banana, and 3 scoops of protein powder. So it's 30 grams of protein, which is a very clean protein, not whey protein. No dairy up in here. And creatine.
Okay.
And that's my morning.
And what do you use, like coconut milk?
I use almond milk.
Okay.
Yeah. But I like coconut's okay. I don't really love coconuts. Cashew milk, hazelnut milk, or almond milk, not oat or soy. And then I have that at around, let's say, I usually do drop off, usually in school times. I do drop off. I take a cup of lemon and shilajit. Have you heard of shilajit?
No.
So shilajit is this, no, it's too many things. It's like a little tiny black pot and you open it and it literally looks like black tar.
Okay.
And it's minerals from a volcanic rock. And it's one of the most healing things in the world. Shilajit. You need Google it.
I'll
send you some.
Yeah.
I have a lot. And you basically have this little tiny spoon and you dip it in and it's like black tar. It's like sticky. And you just put it in your tea, coffee, water, and you just drink it. It melts. It dissolves. Tastes like earthy. Doesn't taste bad or anything. So I always drink that on the way to school. It's all minerals. So it really remineralizes your body.
Amazing. I really need to get that.
It's amazing. Because we all need that pick me up in the morning.
Yeah, 100%.
Without caffeine. So I go for that first. On the way to school.
And at this point, you've had no coffee.
I've had no coffee. I come back from drop off. Then I have my smoothie. So it's around 8. Then I have my coffee. Okay. So I always have my coffee between 60 to 90 minutes after waking up. So, cause at this point I'm awake. My energy's kicked in. I've left the house. I've seen the sun. I've been outdoors. I've woken up and then I have my coffee. I don't do it before that point.
Okay.
Then nothing until lunch. I have an early lunch because I'm a hungry girl. I get really hungry. Between 12 and 1, I'm like ravenous.
Yeah.
So I have my lunch. It's always protein based. So a chicken, a minced beef, or seafood, depending on my mood, with some sort of starch. So sometimes rice, sometimes quinoa, sweet potato, or potato. Yeah. One of the following, and then loads of veggies. Lunch is my meal. I eat as much as I want. I eat till I'm satisfied.
Okay.
If I'm hungry, I eat more protein because that's gonna really keep my appetite closed. And then if I want something sweet, which is common, I have a sweet tooth, I have like a biscuit brand that I love. It's a Swiss brand. They have it in Dubai, and I have, I don't know, three little biscuits with my tea. I have a black tea. Love my black tea. It's like it's a
nice little wind down.
Yeah. It's my 1 hour where I read my book, my kids are busy.
Yeah.
And I have my lunch, I have my tea, and I have my biscuit.
Yeah.
That's like my happy time.
I need to get the name of those biscuits.
They're so good. Yeah. They're delicious.
Love biscuits.
I love biscuits too. Yeah. So I do that. And then nothing until dinner, which is usually between 6:30 and 7. Okay. Unless I'm going out. And it really depends. Dinner is always kind of I'm exhausted. So I need something that's going to make me happy, but also not something complicated. Yeah. I don't do a gourmet dish or anything.
No.
I don't eat with my kids. They eat really early still.
Yeah.
So me and my husband will figure something out. So like an omelet.
Yeah,
or
quite basic,
smoked salmon
chicken
wrap
or something like that.
Grilled chicken wrap. Something simple.
Yeah.
With a salad. Nothing, crazy.
Okay.
I eat what I crave. If I feel like having a burger, I'll order a burger.
Yeah.
I'm not, I eat what I want.
Yeah. And then you will stop eating, let's say about 8.
As soon as I'm done with dinner.
Okay.
Usually whenever that is, I don't eat after that point. And I'm full. I mean, I eat, a proper meal.
So technically you're still going about 12 hours.
So I guess 8 to 8, let's say. Which is a normal amount of time to be fasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's a 12-hour fast.
That's okay. A 12-hour fast is fine. I think just the skipping breakfast
when it
thing
goes past
lunchtime.
Lunch.
Yes. Yeah. Why? Don't do that to yourself.
Honestly, there's so much conflicting.
I know.
And
I get it.
It's the amount of information. And this obviously, it goes into the fact that we have so much access literally in the palm of our hands. Social media has sensationalized the whole wellness industry, whether it's food, whether it's, every aspect of wellness. Products, infrared, the ice baths.
Love that.
Me too.
I love that.
But it's just become this thing that everybody must.
Yep.
Intermittent fast.
And that's not true.
Everybody must be keto. Everybody must be doing, I don't know what, putting MCT oil in their coffees. It's one of these things that you have so much information.
Yeah.
Obviously you started quite heavily in social media.
Yeah.
Right from the start when you were sort of teaching yoga and all of that. I mean, how has that been in the whole?
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I started my account in 2014. 10 years ago. Isn't that wild? Yeah. And I started off as a yoga blogger. I started off anonymously without my face. And then all my friends in Amman, where I grew up, they're like, Leila, like, we know it's you. Like, why are you trying to be discreet? I'm like, oh, was I not stealth? Like, I wasn't very stealth. So I obviously changed my name and I put my name on it. I was called Yoga Lulz. Like, I wasn't called Leila.
Okay.
I had this whole other
persona
life. Yeah. And I was teaching and I did workshops and I loved it. So I started off social media there. And it was only yoga. Then I kind of moved to London, got married, and I wasn't teaching yoga. And taking yoga photos in the middle of the streets of London, not easy to do. It's cold. My husband's doing it. He's like, I don't know how to do this.
Could you just hurry up?
just yalla. I'm like, okay, no, this is not going to work. So I kind of fell out of love with the blogging side of yoga. And I pivoted. Yeah. So I started posting lifestyle and, me and my husband were traveling a lot because he was a football scout. So he would travel.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know
like twice a week for scouting. He's like, come to Milan, come to Madrid. I'm like, okay. Yeah, so we were traveling a lot. So I was posting more, that just kind of current life situation. And my account was very yoga focused. And the yoga following that I had was very, yogi and hippie and which I loved, but they didn't get that other side of me. They didn't like it, So I actually closed down that account.
Oh, did you?
I did. And I started a new account because I didn't want them to conflict. I felt like maybe I should just restart, even though I had grown quite a following.
Yeah. I mean, that's your just general.
Probably not I don't know if I should have done that, but whatever. It is what it is. Yeah. I just didn't like the negativity on the account. It was intense. Maybe I should have stuck it out, but it's okay. And then
no, you shouldn't stick it out.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Not when it's not serving you.
It's a big question mark, these things. You kind of just go with your gut. That was my gut.
Fair enough.
And then I started a new account And then I ended up going back to my old account because I felt like everyone who was at negative left. And it's true, they did. So I was left with my like nice followers, which is so funny. And I went back to my old account and changed my name.
It's so funny. The ones that are so quick to be negative.
Yeah.
Also so quick to leave, which is brilliant.
It's great.
Yeah.
So I got rid of all of them. And so all my yoga followers, like they only follow me for yoga, all left. So I went back to my old account and restarted it. And I just changed my name and I started posting more lifestyle. At the time I was still, pregnant, not pregnant. I'm a mom. So I was sharing a lot of motherhood stuff. So I connected with so many moms. And now obviously the last, let's say 3 years, I moved back to Dubai in 2021 and I started to I was like, what am I doing? Am I nutrition? Am I like, what kind of page am I? I really went through a crisis of not knowing what I was doing.
Do you know, honestly,
I'm not a lifestyle blogger.
No. But
it's not,
it's so funny. Honestly, I've literally sat across the table from, oh my God, honestly, about 100 people.
Yeah.
And it's always the same type of thing. There's always a point in somebody's life where there is motherhood. Yeah. Motherhood, some sort of life transition that you think, this is just not working for me. This is fit. I'm going to try this. And once you try this, you can see the passion
100%
come through.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was posting a lot of lifestyle stuff, random photos of me in a nice outfit and all of this. And it didn't excite me. I was like, what am I doing? Like, this isn't me. I don't judge that. I love watching people's lifestyle accounts. I love them.
Yes.
But it's not me.
No.
It's not me. It's not my style. I don't like this. So I kind of took a break and then I eventually found my feet. And now I'm posting what I love, which is nutrition. And it goes hand in hand with my business. So it's really it feeds each other, because I'm sharing what I love and I'm also sharing that I can work with you. So it's like a business account at the end of the day, it's my work. And I love it.
Yeah, it's exactly what you've just cemented what you do. Yeah.
And I focus on it. I'm not doing lifestyle. Like, I don't want to do that. I like taking a nice photo of myself in a nice outfit. Yeah, cool. I can do it.
We can do it from time to time.
I can do it from time to time because I like my outfit, but it's not something that I'm passionate about doing that.
But it really does come through, I have to say.
I hope so.
No, it really does come through.
Thank goodness.
I mean, we have to touch on the coffee viral
coffee video.
Like, what happened there?
So I think people are annoyed that I went into like a studio and did these short clips. People are so mad.
But why?
So I don't know. They're like, well, you're not on a podcast. I'm like, so why do I have to be on a podcast to have a mic like this? I mean, I understand it looks like a podcast and they think I'm talking to a wall. I'm not talking to a wall. I'm talking to my husband. Ahmed is in front of me and he's asking me the questions that I have found that people ask me a lot.
Yeah.
So I kind of compile the questions that I know are kind of the hot topics that I get on my DMs. And I don't answer all my DMs because it's a lot. So I compiled them, wrote them down, found a video editor, and I was like, let's do shorts. Because I love watching these clips myself.
No, they're honestly, I
love watching.
I really enjoyed it. But then it was just
so funny.
I don't
so
know.
coffee was one of them.
The coffee, it
took off.
Viral.
I don't know what happened. I was shocked. I was expecting other videos to kind of be controversial.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting
you
coffee.
never expect it.
I didn't say anything that crazy. I was like, did I say something that was that?
But
funny.
That's why I wanted to ask you.
Wasn't that shocking to me?
What was it that really ruffled feathers? I don't understand.
I think people mostly were like, well, who's this 20-year-old? I'm like, I'm 30, but thanks. I mean, I'll take it. Who's this child telling me what to do? That was the first sort of irritation. Then it was, that's not true. I disagree. So people disagreed. Then that's fine. You can disagree with me. Like, not all coffee it doesn't need to be organic because I said it should be organic.
Okay.
And also what I didn't say in the video was that I didn't actually mean organic. I meant, yes, but also mold free. It's the mold.
Oh.
That's the problem. And I actually had that in my notes when I was filming, but I didn't say it.
Okay.
Or I did, but like it didn't make the cut. I forgot.
Yeah.
And that was what I was really focusing on, was the mold aspect of coffee. So it's funny because I didn't even say that. Oh, if I had said that, who knows? And then it was the waiting an hour to 90 minutes.
Before you have a coffee. Yes,
people were not having it.
I did see that. Well, no, I have a coffee first thing in the morning.
I have it in my veins before I'm awake. I'm like, the comments were funny.
Yeah.
I mean, brutal, but funny. Like, if you browse, they're funny.
The thing is, look, you started a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what social media is about.
Totally.
But it was just a bit, it's giving a perspective.
Yes. My experience.
This is the experience.
Yeah.
This is the perspective. Thank you for your comment. But
it was funny. I mean, I wasn't expecting that at all. It's almost at 20 million views, like, for coffee. And to me, these facts are quite standard. So I think the demographic was US. My demographic is not US. Usually like my following comes from the region. So Amman, UAE, Saudi is a big one. And then UK, because I used to live in London. So I think I still have a lot of UK followers, but they're mostly Arabs.
Yeah.
So this video was not Arabs. This was USA.
And just not happy with your coffee.
And you know how the US is? They drink filtered coffee all day long. From morning to night. Like they drink it like water.
Yeah.
So it's not, their culture with coffee is not like our culture with coffee, which I understand. But that's not a good idea to sip on coffee all day. I don't think that's doing favors for anybody.
No. Look,
which they don't like to hear.
Exactly.
That's it.
And I think it's good that you made a part 2 as well.
I didn't get as many views. I was like, I doubt this is going to go as viral. So the 20 million people are probably not watching my, my response.
No, but
I tried.
It was just, I couldn't believe it. It was just
wild.
It's the reaction.
People were angry. It was anger.
But the thing is, like I said, when I was watching it, even my girl Aya, who helps me so much with social media, she's like, it made sense. We were just a bit puzzled as to the strong reaction.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's really funny how some videos can just, I think when people get so angry to anything.
It must have hit home.
You obviously are thinking about it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so angry. You know what I mean? Like if you just really disagreed with me, that's cool.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be so angry. Why are you so upset?
Why are you so upset?
Why are you so upset? It's crazy. And also the sugar video, that was also very, like I said, the honey, I was saying, have some honey. They're like, no. What do you mean? I mean,
well, this is the thing. And I find social media, it's like such a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's so informative. And on the other hand, you've got so much misinformation.
Yeah.
And
which I understand. I agree with.
Yeah.
So I understand that people are looking at me and being like, oh, another, fake doctor coming to tell us what to do. I get it. I don't disagree. I see what they're saying, and that is a lot of misinformation. So I understand how it can be perceived when another person is coming online and sharing these new information and new facts. It's annoying. I get it.
But the thing is, the majority of the way I've noticed, the majority of the way that you start any of your videos is all from personal experience.
Yes. I try my best to only do
it's coming from,
they also don't know anything about my background because it's shorts. So I'm not sort of doing a podcast like this where I sit and talk and explain myself. So all the people who watch the video,
guys, listen up. Okay? This is the full story.
This is the full story. So, but people don't always watch the full thing. Yeah. So most of the people commenting weren't following me. So they have no idea who I am. No idea my background. I'm a random person sitting in a studio with a mic. And they get annoyed by that. And I get it. So, yeah, it's funny.
I don't know. All power to you, because I really enjoyed it.
You have to have a thick skin, that's for sure.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And again, it's nowhere near. I mean, this podcast is fairly new, and I'm, sort of slowly getting there. Thank you. But it's having thick skin to kind of just, some things work, some things don't. Some people agree, some people don't, and that's
okay. Exactly.
You're putting information out there, and to be honest, you're putting information out there that's well thought of, it's well researched, it's something that you've probably tried and tested, and that's the main thing.
And I'm passionate about it.
It
works for my clients.
Absolutely.
So I'm sharing from experience,
It's that noise, the social media noise.
It's a lot of noise.
A lot of noise.
Yeah. So you just have, like controversial topics. Nutrition is already very controversial. So
I'm going to ask a very controversial question.
Shoot.
Ozempic.
Oh,
yeah. I have to ask. Ozempic.
Yeah.
This GLP-1.
Yeah.
All of the Mounjaros, Ozempics. I don't know what the other ones are called. Where do they fall in nutrition?
Well,
they're somehow tied in.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's going to become it already has become, easy to get your hands on. It's going to get easier. And they're going to reformulate it to be not just for diabetics and not just for people with sugar level issues. Like it's going to be probably reformulated for weight loss. So it's going to be like a very normal thing soon, I think. I'm not a doctor. Okay. So I'm not here to give you a medical opinion. I'm just giving you my overall opinion. And I would say that I know people who have taken it and have great results. Kills your appetite. So you're not hungry.
Yeah. I've seen people and
I have a lot of clients who came to me like after taking the first couple of shots and they couldn't continue because they felt so sick and were vomiting and really bad side effects. And then they're like, I'm not going to do this. Let's do nutrition.
Yeah.
They gave up. It's not an easy one to discuss because if you are going to a doctor, your doctor advises it, who am I to come and tell you not to do it, right? But at least from my research that I've seen from, doctors who are not so pro Ozempic, what they're saying is that you lose a lot of fat, but you also lose a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes dangerous. Mm-hmm. And that's why you shouldn't just take it so casually. Mm-hmm. If you really need to medically take it and you're obese and you have, you're diabetic and you really have tried everything and this is your last resort, I'm not going to, that's a different story. But if you're someone who's young and quite healthy and you can lose weight, but you just don't want to, that's just laziness. Come on, you can do it. You just have to apply yourself. But some people can't. And I get it. I understand that it's a shortcut. Mm-hmm. It's a cheat. It's a hack. And sadly, if you're someone who's going to be tired and take Panadol, you're going to be someone who's going to be like, oh, I can take a medicine to lose weight. Of course I'm going to do it. It's just it's a mentality thing. It
is. Yeah.
I'm not a fan for it, like I said, unless it's a very severe case. I don't think it's something you need to do. I think if you're falling to it, it's because you don't understand your body and you don't understand how to eat for your own body. And that's what you need to learn before jumping into, a medication like that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's one of those things that it has become very accessible.
Too accessible.
And
yeah, scary.
And I think with anything that becomes too accessible, there's always...
It's not tested enough.
That, as well as there's always a point where you need to, I feel like, at least try other ways and then maybe use that as, the last...
Plan Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I do think that there's, again, like you said, there's so many different conflicting opinions. Yeah. On one hand, the opinion is, look, this has been around for, for people with diabetes or pre-diabetes, things like that for a while.
Yep.
So technically we've had some sort of testing when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Then you've got, on the other hand, but what about just for general weight loss? And then there's other new research that's all about, well, I don't even remember what it was, but it was some new research that came up that it lowers inflammation and all that type of thing. So I think we're in such
trial phase
and this sort of uncharted territory that some think it's an absolute miracle drug. And some people think that really watch out.
The thing is with weight gain, I say this to my clients all the time. It's also not just about food.
Yeah.
It's also a very mental thing. Yeah. And if you're experiencing a lot of, I would say stress, or you're holding onto your weight because it's almost like a protection for some people and they don't want to let it go. It's weird. It's actually a thing. And working on yourself in therapy, with hypnotherapy, with a spiritual guide of some sort, whatever it is you want to do, but work on yourself. Because sometimes weight gain is not just about, I'm going to eat this and I'm going to lose weight. It can actually go deeper than that. And I've seen it. So I don't know. It's not this, it's just not simple, for me, it's not this simple thing where it's like, I'm going to go on a diet and I'm going to lose 30 kg and that's it. Sometimes it is deeper than that. And I feel for people who are not open to these types of therapies because they don't think it's a thing. We're from a society that, now it's becoming a little bit less.
Yeah, back in the day, it was like, this like woo-woo.
Exactly.
Type of.
So sometimes it can be very emotional.
Yeah.
It can be a very emotional issue.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And that's why they say things like emotional eating. That's a thing.
It's a thing. Of course it's a thing.
I 100% agree. And I think it's this whole thing with Ozempic and all the others is kind of like a watch this space.
Like anything, like the COVID vaccine, it was the same thing. And now everybody's like, oh, I wish I didn't take it.
I wish I did.
I agree. So, don't rush. Yeah. Take your time. Don't rush into it. Don't just try a meal plan service one time and then keto one time and be like, oh, I'm going to take Ozempic. Like, no. Really understand your body. If you don't understand your body, try to before you go down the medical route. That's all I'll say.
I love that because it's true. It's yours. You are the expert.
Yes.
A lot of us have kind of lost sight of who the expert is.
They don't know. They don't know
and
anymore.
It's almost like it's a journey back in.
It takes time.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that you have to try in every aspect of your life.
Yep.
So try to listen to who you are and what your body's telling you. And I think that's quite important. There's a time and a place for everything,
Totally.
you know, and I think that's probably the most, you know, sort of helpful piece of advice. What has been the most rewarding point of it could be like your general career, whether from the yoga all the way to present day.
Just in general career.
Yeah.
I would probably say definitely with nutrition. It's the points where I'll have clients come to me, women, and they want to conceive. And we work together and they're struggling. Usually they're not struggling, but they're trying and it's maybe not happening, which is fine. That obviously can take time. And they'll message me 6 months later and be like, I'm pregnant. And it just makes me want to cry because I get it. I was someone who not struggled to conceive, but it took a little bit of time the first time. And it's not a nice
it's
not a nice feeling.
No.
You start to question yourself.
Yeah.
You start to question your body.
Yeah.
Even if you're like easy on yourself and obviously it's God's timing. I get it, but it's not easy. So when somebody comes to me and feels that way, and then we do a program together and, you know, there's a lot of changes we make and they feel amazing. And then they say, I'm pregnant. It's just the most rewarding feeling in the world. Same thing if somebody loses their period, which they don't have a period, and then they get it back. It's just like,
sort of
it's working.
Circle.
It's working again. Your body is working again. And it's the best feeling in the world that I can help someone. Not to say I'm doing anything, but you know what I mean? It's rewarding to help someone get there.
Absolutely.
It's
and
the
this
best
is
feeling.
A pain point, you know, people's pain points take
especially
over their lives.
With women and especially in our society, you know, we don't really talk about these things.
We never talk
it's
about
silent.
It. Silent.
So they struggle alone.
Yeah.
So the fact that they open up to me about these things, I feel obviously very lucky that I'm able to
and also
help
you
women.
Take it as a responsibility.
Big
you know,
time.
you do take it on board as, you know, I'm
really, with you.
I'm with you.
Like
you know,
we're doing it together.
Support. And honestly, I think there's a psychological component to that.
100%. Just having someone, having a support system. Obviously, I know they have their husbands, but it's not the same. No, it's nice to have another woman with you, whether it's a sister, whether it's a friend or me or whoever it is. I mean, I love that. And it's so rewarding. That's like my favorite. I love it. Like I'm always like, what's going on? And then they give birth and then I see their kids and I love it. It's so sweet.
Actually, that is, I would say, probably the most.
Like I cry. Like I literally cry. Yeah. And my husband's like, what? I'm like, my client's pregnant. And he's like, oh, that's amazing. It's amazing. That's amazing. Best feeling.
How can people reach out to you?
Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram or email. My email's on there. They can email me, DM me.
Yep.
I'm happy to, you know.
Your courses, do they run like on like a 12-week program? You mentioned.
So I have my groups.
Yep.
My groups are starting in September. So my first Letting Go program is September 9th. Second is the Gut Reset, which is the 23rd of September. And every month I'll be running 2 programs.
Okay.
And they'll be different ones.
Perfect.
I kind of just announce whatever my mood says. I'm like, oh, let's do gut. Let's do Letting Go. Letting Go is probably the most in demand.
Yeah.
Because most women want to learn how to lose weight, but still be satisfied and healthy. Gut is now gut's a recent one. I only did 1 gut program so far.
Okay.
And the results were phenomenal.
I'm gonna sign up for one.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Yeah, I will.
Come join us.
Made it this like incredibly supportive,
it's amazing.
Beautiful space.
I love it.
No, I'm excited.
I love it.
I always end
this
podcast. Obviously, it's called They Say It Takes a Village.
It does.
It does, definitely. And it's always, you know, we get quotes and things that we live by constantly. So I always kind of like to give context to what we talked about.
Yes.
With a quote.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quote.
Yes.
Which I will share. And mine is, embrace nourishment as your remedy and let the treatment be found in food.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I thought that was quite fitting.
That's so nice.
Like, oh, that's good. And then I'll always ask my
favorite
guest.
quote.
Yeah.
I have a favorite quote. It's on my phone. I have to pull up my phone.
No, go for it.
This is a quote because you already told me that you were going to ask me for a quote. So I always remember this one. I forgot it, obviously, because my mom brain. Yeah. Mom brain is real, guys.
It's like me with the
so bad
right at the beginning. Don't worry.
Bad. And I read this quote in high school. And at the time, I never understood it. I was like, like that doesn't make any sense because I think as a teenager, you think you know everything.
Yeah.
And now it makes sense.
Okay.
And the quote is, the only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. I love that quote. And obviously, I know it's quite an obvious one.
Yeah.
But I loved that quote. And it just makes so much sense to me.
No, it really
as
does.
An adult.
Yeah.
As opposed to when I learned about it in school.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Layla, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
That was fun.
This was so fun. And to be honest, I feel like I really needed it. Like I needed to sort of sit down in front of somebody.
Break down.
Yeah. And
Yes.
break these things down
Mhm.
because they are confusing. I think everybody's confused
I
about
know.
them. And I know that this is going to be very helpful to a lot. So I want to
so simplify as much as possible.
Yeah.
So hopefully people can take something out of it.
Well, that's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah.
You are bringing it back to basics, and it's not
Simplify.
not overcomplicating.
That's my
anything.
advice. Just simplify it. Eat the vegetables. Eat the fruits. Don't worry about the sugar.
Have fun. Enjoy
Have a
your
teaspoon
life.
of honey. You're okay.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thanks a lot for being here.
Anytime.
Thank you for listening to They Say It Takes a Village. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I look forward to bringing you another one next week. Don't forget, please subscribe, rate, and review so I can reach and help even more parents. And if you've got a topic that you'd like me to cover, please head over to my Instagram page, ittakesavillage.me, and drop me a line.